and thank you, Ursila Jung, for hosting this candidate forum. I am so proud and so honored to represent this district. I was born and raised on the Lower East Side. My parents immigrated here from the Dominican Republic. My dad was a bodega owner, and my mom is a garment worker. And so for me to stand in front of you today, for me to represent you in City Council, just really shows that the American dream, the New York dream, is possible. When I ran 2.5 years ago, I ran on a message to say that we need desperately more affordable housing in our district. We got to make sure that we can remain in place. I ran on a platform of making sure that we had sanitation that was fully funded and our streets were clean, and also that you had a council member that was visible. Someone that wasn't going to be at your door on election day, but then you'll never see again. And you guys have seen me a lot in the past 1.5 years, and I'm committed to doing the work, and later today I'll tell you what we've been doing and what we're going to do. Thank you.
Hello, New York. I'm Helen Chu. I'm immigrant from China. I'm the first generation of immigrants, and I immigrant from China and study graduate schools at Columbia University. My son David and I, we love New York. However, ask yourself today, do you feel safer? Do you feel you can afford more things? Do you feel you have more money in your pocket? Do you feel the pressure of rising rent? Indeed, New Yorkers no longer feel safe or enjoy our beloved city, unfortunately, due to rising crimes and higher cost of living. So 250,000 retirees, I'm calling you. Your insurance plan is being short-handed by the city council and the mayor's office, and who is going to stand up for you? I will. And 80% of the kids failing in their grades. Who will stand up for the public school kids? I will. Our senior care, homeless care, and mental illness care are all not managed effectively. So if we want better change, why do we keep voting the same thing again and again?
Time.
I'm a Republican. I ask for your vote on November 7th. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Pooi Stewart. I have 3 kids in my family. They are 11 years old, 10 years old, and 7 years old. I'm pretty handful with all these kids. Going back to, my candidate Helen Chu talking about education. I'm very worried about the education. I'm also the teachers of special education in New York public school. New York public school, talking about the chancellor, he did the best work ever. I have received a lot of information from the chancellor that we have to stand by for next year education. We're standing by for the next year education, 2023 and 2024. We're not worrying about the education. We got to worry about the budget. So right now we have a lot of non-citizens, people coming into it. We hope that the incumbent Principal Marte be able to take care with the Mayor Adam. I saw Mayor Adam yesterday in Flushing. He's doing well. He got positive thinking. He knows what he's doing. But thank you.
So I'm going to take this moment to remind the candidates that there is time limits on this. Your timer is going to be right here. And this is important because this next section is 90 seconds per question. I will cut you off because we need time to get to all of this. So these are 5 substantive issue-based questions covering a wide range of issues impacting this community. For the interest of fairness, we're going to rotate how this begins. I'm going to start on this side first. There's 5 questions. So each subsequent question will go next to begin, so that each candidate, in theory, isn't the one going 5th or 4th, right? You get a chance to go first each time. So with that being said, 90 seconds, basically the length of my packages on air. I'll go over sometimes, so I admit. So this is question 1. And it has to do with the migrant crisis, which is obviously a headline these days, front of mind. District 1 has seen a particularly high number of asylum-seeking families over the course of the past year. And many community-based organizations have stepped up to offer services and supplies for those in need. How do you see the city's response to asylum seekers? What goals do you think the city government should be pursuing to address this need? First question goes to Ursila Jung.
Thank you. Who would have thought 6 months ago that for a local election we would be talking about national immigration issues? But here we are. And I think we have a moral responsibility to grant asylum to as many people as we can whose dire circumstances at home definitely deserve our compassion and our help. The number of people living in the world in terrible circumstances far exceeds and is straining our healthcare, our education. In New York City, even before the migrant crisis began, we have people living with no or inferior food, with poor shelter or homeless, poor healthcare, not adequate job training opportunities. The reality is that we are in a $4 billion hole in the New York City budget. And more Americans are homeless, public schools are overcrowded. We as a country or as a city do not have infinite resources. In 9 months, we have had 75,000 people go through the city. We have 150 emergency sites, 8 HERTs that have been opened, 50% of our hotels leased. And I think that this is not a crisis anymore. To call it a crisis is unfair. We need to reach out to the federal government. We cannot deal with this alone. We need to have more cities and states on board to help the city. It is unfair to expect the city to shoulder this burden. And in our own communities, I have seen in my community downtown, we have done what we can to help.
Thank you.
Hi. I think that we must not forget that these individuals, the migrants, fled their country from abusive conditions. I think that we need to approach this in a compassionate manner. I myself is an immigrant. I came to this country at 6 years old. My parents didn't speak the language. They didn't know anyone here but our family. And to top it off, they lived in Lower East Side, so they didn't really have much friends, right? So the government really stepped in to help them, and I think that this is the role that we can play. Now, when the migrant asylum seekers came to our district at 231 Grand Street, I helped not one, but 2 necessity drives. We donated about 20,000 articles of goods for the asylum seekers. Additionally, I worked with members of OCA not to host 1, but also 2 school supply drives for PS 130 and PS 124. So I think that right now it's really important for us to work with our state and federal colleagues to address this migrant crisis issue. But I also want to applaud the mayor and the governor for calling to expedite the work authorization process. We need to get these individuals work because they want to come here for work. Thank you.
There is a lot that our federal government and state government has to do. There are funds that we desperately need. That doesn't mean we can't be proactive on a local level. And that's what my office has been doing. We have literally converted our conference room into a free storeroom. So we have families coming from all around the city just getting bare necessity at our office. But it also helps us. It helps us engage with these families to figure out what they need. Earlier last year, we had a roundtable with a lot of the nonprofits that are here today to figure out what services that they can provide for free for these families. And now we're seeing these programs actually take into effect. Chinatown Manpower is providing English classes for free for these families. Grand Street Settlement is helping some of the kids find daycare slots. We've been able not only to provide the bare clothing, the bare food, but also put them on a journey to become successful. The only reason why I'm standing in front of you is because University Settlement. They gave me childcare in the morning. They gave me after school program after school, and they provided me the tools to be successful in life. And that's what my office has been doing on the ground every single day, making sure that no one's left behind.
I I immigrated here to America from China in 1990 for graduate school. So I go through the process of naturalization in order to get green card first and then apply for citizen after 5 years. Do you know, I have a question for everyone here. Do you know that there are 4 million Chinese are trying to apply for immigration here? They are sponsored with relatives who are here, but they are waiting in line. Second question for all of you. Do you know we have 2 million Mexicans waiting in line trying to come over here to America? They are all sponsored with relatives. Do you know? So these 6 million people, I am more thinking about them. I'm more thinking about them. Right now, we have such a backlog of our immigration process that they need to wait 10 and 20 years. Do we have compassion for them? Where is our compassion for them? 4 million Chinese, 2 million Mexicans. And I have compassion for them because their relatives are my constituents. Their relatives sponsor their family to come here. I want to solve the problem that way, and then the migrants can come into the same path to apply for application here. Thank you.
Be honest with you, I'm kind of like, the first day that I came to this America, it was back in 1989. I was an illegal immigrant. But right now, I'm a citizen. And right now, I'm running for candidate, District 1. I don't feel ashamed that I'm telling you the truth. I came here in 1987 with my visitor visa, that which is very sad for this non-citizen people came here very, like they had a hardship with that. But I'm very sad for them. But when I came here, I started to apply Social Security, started to pay taxes, started to go to work. That's where am I right now. I don't mind telling you, when I was here, 18 years old, I'm 50 years old. Don't say that I'm looking young, I'm trying to become. So my point is asylum seekers. The government, Governor Hochul, the state, the federal, the congressional supposed to be working together and try to give this asylum seekers a status to work. Like me when I first came here. At least I have my Social Security, just only for deposit bank, but not working. But I forced myself to pay taxes. At the end, I got my status. So hopefully they get the same privilege. Hopefully they get the same pay.
All right, thank you. That's round one. Question one, clearly you see differences here on this panel, so can't argue there isn't choice. Also notice that nobody was critical of the mayor. Observation. Question two, we'll start with Susan Lee here. 87% of Council District 1, this district is made of tenants. This is an issue that's plaguing the city, but obviously has come up a few times already tonight about affordability in housing. The data shows that most New Yorkers cannot afford to keep up with rising rents. If elected, how will you work with organized working class tenants in your district to win truly affordable, not-for-profit housing for the city?
I think one of the first things I would look at is lifting the FAR cap. It is really important for us to be creative and look at ways to solve the housing crisis, especially the affordable housing crisis. Now, what I mean by lifting the FAR cap is it gives us guidance in terms of how we can convert these empty commercial space. And we've seen that during, after 9/11, when we converted office space, unused office space in Lower Manhattan into residential units where we have a vibrant live-work environment. But also what I want to do as your council member is to work with developers to develop responsibly and to make sure that the mandatory inclusionary housing goes from 30% to perhaps 40 or 50%. And I think that that's really important that we work to make sure that we provide more additional affordable housing. Additionally, I would work with my state colleagues to work on the AMI issue to make sure that those who are applying for affordable housing can and will apply, and which is truly affordable. So that is how I would address the affordable housing.
There's two ways to address the affordable housing crisis, is building much needed, deeply affordable housing. We don't, you hear in the news, we have a housing crisis. We actually have an affordability crisis. We have new buildings popping up all over our district where many of us in this room cannot afford. And what that leads to is displacement. What we've been seeing, especially in my office, we get hundreds of people a week saying that they can no longer afford their rent, or their landlord is forcing them out. So we have to make sure that we pass zonings like the Chinatown Working Group Plan to protect tenants who currently live here, but also build 100% affordable housing, which we're doing right now at Grand Street Gales, where we're going